Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be going over BP or British Petroleum, and this is not necessarily going to be a deep dive into their financials, but more so me just giving a general outlook for the company and me giving my opinion. So without further ado, let me get right into it. Right now, we have BP at $23.25, and it may currently be at a different price than what I'm seeing right now. And if we look at the 5-year chart here, 5 years ago, it was at $39, and then at its previous high at the end of 2019, it was at $47.83. And then at its previous low just a few months ago, which is the lowest it's been in many, many years, it was at $15.51. And this is actually one of the stocks in the industry that has not recovered very well. It's only up $8 from its previous low. And although the 5-year chart may not be very attractive and the earnings per share here may not be very attractive at negative 0.97, what is really nice about BP right now at this current price is that it's at almost an 11% dividend, and that has not been suspended yet. And if you could set a limit price, you could probably even get the some shares at even lower and get an even higher dividend percentage here. So I would definitely say that this is a dividend stock, not even a value stock, although you could get it at a really good price right now. I don't see any huge growth for gas companies in general, but it did have a very attractive dividend right now. Here, looking at the earnings and revenues for the last 4 years, you're seeing some pretty strong growth in revenue year over year with a little bit of a dip in 2019, and I think we're going to see a significant dip in revenue in 2020 as well as earnings. But what's less attractive here is the earnings for the last 4 quarters. We pretty much see decreasing earnings quarter over quarter, with no earnings basically in quarter 4 of 2019 and strong negative earnings in quarter 1 of 2020, which you'll see with just about any natural gas companies from the beginning of this year, just because the demand and price for oil was so low. And in my opinion, I don't think quarter 2 is going to be any better. And then we'll start to see its rebound and see some strong earnings in quarter 4 of 2020, if not at the beginning of 2021. And I think when that happens and we see positive earnings again, we will start to see the stock price go back towards $40. It may be a couple of years before it reaches $40 again, but it's definitely going to start approaching that direction. Now I'm going to take a look at a few points by the bears and the bulls by analysts at Morningstar. And the first point we have by the bulls here, or positive things, is that with a production growth rate of 5% per year through 2021, BP holds the highest growth rates of its peers. And I don't know what Exxon's growth rate is, but I know they have some pretty attractive growth rates as well. And I think for Exxon, it actually goes out until 2025. But still, it's definitely a very positive thing for BP that they are continuing to increase production. And then the next point is that BP reached a settlement with the U.S. federal government and Gulf states in 2016, and this is definitely huge for BP. They were bleeding money for years after the Deep Horizon oil spill, which I'm sure you're familiar with. They faced countless lawsuits and boycotts all across the country, or even really many countries as a result of the Deep Horizon oil spill. But now they finally reached a settlement, and they're going to be paying out money to these countries over the next 17 years. So this is definitely a big plus for BP. And I actually don't remember the figure off the top of my head, but this is near best case scenario for BP. I'm sure they would like to be paying a lot less, but because they're able to pay over the next 17 years, they're able to spread that out, which is really great for them. Now I'm going to talk about a few points by the bears here by analysts at Morningstar, and just looking at the top one here, BP holds a higher level of political risk than its peers. And I actually did not know this, but with about 35% of its reserves coming from the Russian-controlled oil company Rosneft, that can be seen as a big negative from a lot of people, that a lot of its reserves are coming from a Russian company versus just being an American company and being fully vertically integrated compared to some of the other similar companies or BP's peers. And then looking at the second point here, this is saying that BP has less ability to capitalize on the oil environment right now, where the price of oil is extremely low. And because they have less leverage to do this, they're not able to offset their earnings nearly as much as some of their peers like Marathon Oil and Exxon, as well as Chevron, which I would say is maybe their biggest competitor right now. And then lastly, the bulk of new volumes that BP is adding during the next 5 years is natural gas, which will in turn greatly reduce the company's leverage. And then lastly, you don't see this too often here. You're just taking a look at the research report overview. We see a 5-star Morningstar rating on here, which is really, really rare. I can only think of a couple other companies that I've looked at that have the 5 stars. And sometimes I'll dive into a couple of the things on here, like the economic moat or stewardship, if it's given exemplary, for example. But really, the only reason I could see just reading through the research report that it was given 5 stars is because of the $40 fair value. The analysts at Morningstar strongly feel that $40 is a fair value, and the company is currently trading at around $23, which is nearly half of the $40. So I believe that is by far in itself the biggest reason why Morningstar gave this company a 5-star rating. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've done a ton of other brief stock analysis videos very similar to this one, and I'm actually working on doing one of these videos for all of the companies in the Dow 30, so come and check this out. Subscribe for more content, and thank you so much for watching.